And then we are also guided by the 13 points plan of the IFP, given the fact that our Honorable MEC is a deployee from that particular political organization. We are also making reflection on the GNU principles that inform the constitution of this particular administration. The vision and the mission of the department was reviewed last year, and we are still carrying the same. And we are looking at an inclusively transformed, innovative, food secure, and sustainable agricultural sector. And our mission is to drive a comprehensive and equitable agricultural growth, food security, and the advancement of rural communities through sustained scientific and digital technology practices. In this slide, we are also reflecting the values that guide us as the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development in the province. And in this particular slide, we are also indicating our impact statement and also the outcomes, the strategic outcomes that as a department we have committed ourselves to for the next initially 5 years, but it's about 4 years now. We are also just sharing with the committee and the stakeholders that the department last year achieved a clean audit outcome from the Auditor General, which is an indication of good governance in the institution. And we are also just reflecting how that clean audit happened and which areas the department has improved from the 3 years to date. And then we are also just giving a quick reflection of our historical performance as a department against our APP, in particular last year, where we achieved 93% of our annual targets. Still reflecting the planning hierarchies and also the fact that we are guided by the strategic plan for 2025 to 2030, and then every year we then have to review our APP, and then at the end of each year, we must produce an annual report, which becomes audited. We are also sharing the policy programs that the department implements. We've got the Agri-Hubs Development Program. We are implementing the multi-planting season and grain development initiative as part of Program 2. We are also driving the Food Security and Nutrition Program, which also includes One Home, One Garden campaign. We also promote township agriculture, which also includes horticulture programs. We also have hemp and cannabis program as part of our research initiative. We've got seeds and seedling multiplication and distribution program, which the committee was able to see when they visited Sidara. We've got animal feed production program, livestock development program, as well as the establishment of veterinary clinics as part of our vet interventions. We also ensure the provision of veterinary medicines and diagnostic lab services. We have land care program. We've got market access program and RASET. We've got a mentorship program. We've got unemployed agricultural graduate programs. We also have agro-processing and value chain development initiatives. We have agriculture infrastructure development programs. We also have 4IR agriculture technologies and smart agriculture program. And all our programs are supported by extension and advisory services. In terms of the sector programs, this is how the Provincial Department of Agriculture are structured. So this particular structure is not only for us, but it's a structure for all provincial government departments. So there's sustainable resource use and management, where you will find agricultural engineering, land use management, land care, as well as disaster risk reduction. Under agricultural producer supports and development, you've got producer support services, extension and advisory services, as well as food security. Under vet services, you've got animal health, vet international trade facilitation, vet public health, vet diagnostic services, and technical support. Then you have research and technology development services, agricultural economic services, as well as agricultural training and education. In essence, these are the core programs that the department has to perform. And most of our indicators and targets are essentially built around these particular sector programs. Now that I've highlighted, Chair, the programs of the department, I will move with a bit of speed on this one, because here we are just indicating that this is the structure for program 1, and this is where we'll just have your HR and business support indicators. The indicators themselves have not necessarily changed, but we continue to implement most of the same indicators. But what is likely to change now that we have gone through the budget allocation is basically just firming up on the numbers to say, with this budget that I'm allocated, I would be able to achieve this particular target. And then I think for financial management, it's pretty much the same as well. In terms of program 2, this is where most of our service delivery activities are being implemented, and we are expecting that the bulk of the APP is basically going to come from here. So the indicators have not changed drastically from what we had last year, with the exception of where the sector indicators have been revised. But what is likely to then change and being confirmed in February are the actual indicator targets. As I indicated, that once a budget is allocated, that is what we are going to have. So in the interest of time, I don't necessarily believe I should go through each indicator and target, but it's just to reflect to the committee and to the stakeholders that these are the units of measures that we use to measure ourselves as a department, and these are the numbers that we are committing ourselves to. And then you will have the same for VAT services. Nothing in terms of the indicators has changed. Research as well, we are still utilizing almost the same indicators that we've been having in our APP. For agricultural economics, we are still using the same indicators. Training and education, we've also maintained the same measures. And then for rural development, the program as well has not expanded as yet on its indicators. So we still have the 3 that we've had in our APP, and we are just going then to confirm the numbers. So in essence, we are going to be reflecting this presentation to the stakeholders, just to give them an indication of the planning that happens in the department and what the APP is all about, and the fact that once the APP is done, we have to then report to internally and also externally through the portfolio committee, OTP, as well as our national department. And then the APP becomes part of what is audited by the Auditor General. Once again, we are just showing that for now, we have been able to sustain a clean audit. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members.
Thank you very much, Kabazela. Then let's move on to the CFO.
Thank you, Chair. The budget for second draft is what we presently have in the department, and I'll take through the honorable members in terms of the source of funding. Presently, we have been given a first draft allocation letter that points to our budget being 2.820 billion, of which 330.8 million comes from conditional grants. The one grant which we have not as yet have an indication of is the EPWP grant, and equitable share then is 2.489 billion. In the main, one of the reduction is that 25-26 is the end of the BFI funding when it comes to our agri-hubs, and the outer years are then depicted in terms of 2.924 and 3.036 billion in the outer years. The percentage growth is below 5% at this stage, and we do project, though, that COE is going to grow by 5.8, effectively eroding then the budget which is available for particular spending items as one of the areas of concern. In terms of our own revenue, we have the draft sitting at 21.152 million, because we've done significant reduction in terms of the line items, being the lab services for veterinary services, as well as the sale of goods and capital assets. We've had quite a mass drive in terms of the reduction of redundant assets, and we're of the view that we're not going to sell as much in the outer year. Then looking at the other areas in terms of our rentals, as we've also submitted some houses back to Public Works, which were not being utilized by the department. And the overall then has been offset by the soil sample. In the reduction in the soil sample has then been offset by academic fees. Honorable members, the reprioritization of the baseline has then also shown that we've moved from COE to goods and services to cover the shortfall, particularly from SCM processes and the filling of posts for the tools of trade and working capital for the employees that will be recruited. And then we've also had a shift in terms of the unemployed graduates, which we've moved from Program 3 to Program 2 as part of farmer support, as we encourage them towards entrepreneurship. The reprioritization of the baseline in terms of the details, it shows some of the line items and the sub-programs that receive the benefit, with business support receiving about an additional 20.2 million. The other amounts are negligible within the reduction in terms of the rural enterprise, 6.7 million. And in all, that is what we prioritized in our first draft. And then we've moved to the total reprioritization then in terms of the vacant positions, and that's what makes the 24 million in the outer years. In terms of the positions and COEs, this is the breakdown of what we normally allocate. We'll be allocating towards the positions, and you can already see that agricultural services and research as part of our capacitation plan are then going to get a bigger share in comparison to the other sub-programs. Chair, the allocation then for programs is that Program 1 is then going to be at 796.3 million. Program 2 is looking at 1.984.6 billion, and Program 3 is at 39.4 million. And the major reduction there being caused by the BFI funding, and the outer years are then growing at 3.7% and 2.7% in the respective outer years of 27-28 and 28-29. In the main, we do acknowledge then the low growth in terms of the conditional grants, but then provide information to say Program 1 has been impacted by then the IT support as well as security services and the conclusion of agreements and renewals of contracts around that. Program 2 has been linked to the inflation and the lab equipment funding that has been once off that we've received in terms of Treasury to assist us to renew our equipment, and the BFI reduction. This is the economic classification of the expenditure with COE at 1.397 billion. And goods and services, you'll see, honorable members, that when you compare 25-26 to what we're proposing as a draft in 26-27, there's that difference because of our call for funding for projects. We're still in the process of that, and that's not yet finalized in terms of our plans. Then in terms of transfers and subsidies, we do have our allocations then to the public corporations for continuing projects. And the reason for that 69.9% reduction is because we've allocated the money under goods and services while we then finalize the process for evaluation of the applications made. as they will be closing on the 15th. If we look at capital assets, the one change there that we have is the building and other fixed structures, that reduction of the BFI causing the reduction of 46.1%. And then in machinery and equipment, that increase that is linked to some of our projects and equipment that we will be impacting on. Particularly, it's under Ilima Letsima, where we will be increasing our mechanization capacity. The project at the approval stage, particularly then will impact, and you'll see the change then from move from goods and services to actual current payments or capital payments as part of our third draft as we anticipate. This is the picture of our conditional grants, honorable members. The reduction then overall of 17.9%. When it comes to the CASP conditional grant, is the reduction of the CASP or BFI funding, which was flowing through the CASP grant. And then you've got Ilima Letsima at the minimum increases of 4.6%. The pillars then for the CASP and Ilima infrastructure projects, we have 120.7 million for infrastructure projects. Extension and recovery has 61.5 million. Revitalization of our colleges is 20.3 million. Training and mentorship has 25.2 million. Lima Letsima has a combined amount of 87.5, with the pillars of irrigation development, which is sitting at 22.2 million, and the KYD program at 4.5, and the food, nutrition and security with mechanization at 60.6 million. We've got land care then at 15.4, and the EPWP that will be communicated probably towards our final draft. Our cost plans is that we've got irrigation development, which we will implement in Makhathini, 10 million for the pumps, and then the canal rehabilitation, 6 million, block 6A, 1.5, and block 15, 1.5. And we're also going to be assisting with pump station and pump 6 electrification in the Tugela Ferry scheme. Food security and mechanization, we are going to continue with the production input assistance and the mechanization in terms of the implements in the different districts, although the proportions may still vary as part of our consideration of the food security survey, then depicting the advancement. So that's the Ilima Letsima total. I've spoken to the slide, honorable members. Then looking at the CASP and the funding areas, the infrastructure, we are going to split the funding between ourselves and ADA, where then we will also proceed with the VAT capacitation plan at 9.7. ADA, we preliminary at 6. Draft stage at 64 million, and agricultural projects at 24.9. Then we also need to do a top up for the fresh produce, 10 key service provider, as per the implementing agents award. Then extension and recovery has those amounts for the different pillars, which is training, SA gap certification, as well as the graduates that are placed on farms, and the revitalization of the colleges, where we've then split the allocation between Sadara receiving 10.2 and Oscar 10 million, which gives us then the breakdown of the 227 million. Honorable members, this is then at large the draft as at the second draft stage, and we are in the process of trying to firm up towards a third draft position. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, CFO. the presentation. We can, honorable members, I think let's allow the entity if they want to present something. I know it's at the early stage, but let's allow if they have something they want to share with the committee at this stage. Honorable Mfusi.
Thanks, Chair.
Honorable member.
Maybe I'm going there, Chair. Thanks, Chair, and greetings to you and honorable members. We will present the draft APP. I think, Chair, at this stage, if you can just allow us to stand the budget down for now and present the APP, but we have prepared something. If the Chair so wishes, we can then present it. The APP will be presented by Lindy Webmthembu. She is the manager responsible for monitoring and evaluation. Thank you.
No, it's fine. It's okay. As long as you won't be presenting the budget in our when we engage with the community, because we wanted this session so that we know what we'll be presenting all of you when we engage with the community.
Lindy, you can proceed.
Thank you, CEO. Before I proceed, I see CFO from DAT has her hand up. Maybe she'd like to go.
Yes, CFO.
Thank you, Chair. We do also have a presentation which was Mzinyathi specific that Mr. Jongisa will then present, if you'll allow, after the entity.
Okay.
Because there was also a request for Mzinyathi specific projects. Thank you.
Yes, that's fine. Let's allow the entity first, then after that, then it will be Mr. Jongisa.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Good afternoon, Honourable Members. Good afternoon to the DART cohort, the CFO and the executive at large. I'd like to also greet Mr. Mfusi. I'd like to present on the APP for ADA for the 26-27. The outline of the presentation pertains to our strategic overview, then addressing the environment in which this APP is going to be implementing some of the mandate and the work that the ADA does in respect of its situational analysis, and then linkages to the government priorities, the ADA programs, the key risks that we are identifying, and then as Jen presenting the performance indicators and targets for the year. The mandate was revised last year as in line with our strategic session. So we now strategic plan, which is now in its second year. And the vision that has been redressed is that ADA has the vision of creating agrarian transformation by empowering sustainable Black-owned agribusinesses within KZN, by supporting employment opportunities, agribusinesses in various schemes and enterprises. In that respect, we echo the sentiments of our mother department in driving agrarian transformation, and that is our sole mission in empowering Black-owned businesses and facilitating access to various resources, infrastructure development, market access to drive inclusive growth and job creation, which is in line with the government priorities of the government in the GPU. The impact statement that has been adopted by the ADA pertains to that said government priorities of the MTDP. That being said, the outcome statement that is being reinforced within our annual performance is improving our governance and our accountability in the work that we do, and creating sustainable Black-owned businesses and increasing and improving them in that regard. Our situational analysis is being cognizant of the environment in which we are existing within, and that is to address unemployment and job creation. And in respect of the statistics that we are seeing within the landscape of our country, we are sorting to contribute directly and indirectly. We're also cognizant of the external environments such as the environment which we do not have control of, but also attempting to work within that space and attempting to alleviate and avert in the attempts of creating inclusive growth. So we also look at the economic outlook in that regard. Also, we look at our internal environment as we attempt to grow strength by strength as an entity. Organizational stability is one of our key core focuses at this current moment, and it is with great joy at this fact that our board has then appointed a new CEO, Mr. Jerry Mfusi, who was appointed officially in November 2025. Our business re-engineering process in terms of our structure is still underway, which in the phase 2 of it is still underway and to be finalized in 26-27. The amalgamation process is also forming part of that organizational stability, foreseeing the finalization of the amalgamation process within 2 years, as per the pronouncement of the legislator. We're also attempting to reinforce and do collaborations with other strategic partners, and that is one of the key focuses in attempting to diversify the resources that are within our reach through blended finance, research development, and infrastructure development. Then we have what is forming part of our core business is the focus on catalytic projects by focusing on the agriculture hubs, by contributing to the various value chains within the agriculture industry, namely horticulture, red meat, goat production, grains and processing, dairy, and white meat. We're also very cognizant that this cannot happen in a vacuum. So we are very cognizant of what can be our strengths, what are our weaknesses, so to ensure that we are efficient and effective in the manner in which we are implementing the core business of the ADA. Mostly, I'd like to pay attention to the opportunities that we are aware and cognizant of the technologies that are growing strength by strength, and we seek to harness them using skills development for our beneficiaries as well as ourselves as an entity, accessing capital resources that may be otherwise limited in other spheres through blended finance, looking at emerging commodities such as cannabis and hemp, looking at market access, which is some of the biggest weaknesses in the landscape of agricultural businesses, and as well as proving and realizing multiple revenue streams for the entity in order for it to be self-sustainable. Just to reiterate some of the government priorities, so therefore our budget allocation is focused in terms of our programs on the 3 MTD strategic priorities, mainly focusing on building a capable and ethical developmental state through our governance and accountability focuses, as well as to drive inclusive growth through job creation and to reduce poverty, but also addressing priority of reducing poverty and high cost of living through agribusinesses. Just to reiterate our programs, we have our program 1, which is finance and administration, which serves as the core and anchor for the work that the ADA does in terms of supporting Black farmers. We have our program 2, which seeks to enhance the knowledge of the beneficiaries. We do targets and for them to perform optimally through trainings, mentorship, and access to various opportunities in the leverage of funding. We have program 3, which pertains to enterprise and value chain developments to create an enabling environment through giving them access to various agricultural resources, infrastructure development, and production inputs. Then we have Program 4, where our catalytic projects, namely Ndingwe, Makhathini Irrigation Scheme, enable the entity to give provision for physical infrastructure and the appropriate resources thereof. If I just may then go into our various programs. As mentioned earlier, our impact statement pertains to improving governance and accountability. Therefore, we have focused on improving our audit outcomes, which we had the misfortune of getting a qualified audit. Therefore, we saw it beneficial to be intentional about being accountable for our governance practices. Therefore, being accountable, we have put it as a performance strategy, and by putting it as an output indicator to reach an unqualified audit within the next financial year. We also ensure that we are abiding and complying with the Treasury regulations by ensuring that we are paying suppliers within 30 days. Therefore, we also have included that as one of our outputs. We are ensuring that all of our business units are held accountable, and that is most reflected in our output indicators within our corporate services units, finance units, and those output indicators are reflected as such. And we ensure that, especially because we are wanting to diversify within our strategic partnerships, we are seeking to improve our stakeholder relationships. We have also included a partnerships opportunities in that regard by having a partnerships plan. And that is a breakdown at a quarterly basis of the output indicators that I have mentioned thereof. For our Program 2, which is comprehensive capacity building, which has a focus in ensuring the sustainable Black-owned businesses are increased by providing various capacity building initiatives, which can form part of either trainings, mentorship, or providing other leverages that will enhance the capabilities of the beneficiaries that which we are serving. Thus, we have a breakdown in terms of our training plan, the training sessions that we are able to afford, as well as the being intentional about focusing on entrepreneurs as an agribusiness entity. Then I'd like to head over to our Program 3, which constitutes of the impact statement of sustainable Black-owned businesses. Again, it's the focus on the agribusinesses that we seek to support in a form of infrastructure as well as production inputs. For the 26-27, we have currently planned. It may be subject to change as we finalize our final draft APP, but it's 23 agribusinesses to be supported, which is based on our current recommended project list for 26-27. With the addition of agribusinesses that will be supported towards market access in the form of our product testing as well as agro-processing projects. We are very cognizant of disaggregating in terms of our demographics. So we have also prioritized youth-owned projects, women-owned projects, as well persons with disability. We also have a focus on ensuring that we are creating jobs within the projects that we are implementing. Therefore, we also envisage creating new jobs as well as sustained jobs. And therein is the breakdown in a quarterly manner of the envisaged enterprises to be supported. Then our Program 4, pertaining to infrastructure development, we have a component of technical support to enterprises by planning infrastructure such as irrigation designs, packhouse designs, and the like. So we also plan in that regard for the beneficiaries that which we target. And then we have the maintenance plan for our Makhathini irrigation scheme to ensure that the services of the Makhathini irrigation scheme are always performing at its optimum. And we have therefore the maintenance plan within our APP. And thus we have the breakdown of the quarterly targets in that regard. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Let's then allow our last presentation, allow Ubaba Uchongisa to present Mzinyathi projects.
Greetings, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Honorable Chair, I'm going to request our District Director to present on my behalf, Chair, or Mr. Lang.
CFO, can you assist now? It can't be that somebody will shift it to somebody and shift to somebody. Really, it can't happen like that.
No, thank you, Chair. No, Mr. Jongisa will take us through the presentation. Apologies, honorable members. Mr. Jongisa, if you could please.
All right, let me request Babulanga to present. I'll try on my cell phone, although visually I'm challenged. I've had a challenge with the network where I was, hence I was requesting Babulanga, but I'll try all my level best. Let me request Babulanga to project. All right, honorable members, Babulanga, you can move to the next slide, please. Now, honorable members, here in the slide, I'm not going to dwell much on it. We're only highlighting a purpose as to why we're presenting, why we're reflecting what we're going to be outlining in this presentation. That will be our overall strategic objective for projects that will be implemented in Umzinyathi district. So we're going also to highlight the collaboration that we have within the district. If we can move to the next slide, Babulanga. The slide, the honorable members, depicts the profile of districts in terms of suitability. You will note that we have 4 local municipalities that will be your Endomene, Ingoto, Mvoti, and Umsinga. And in terms of suitability, you'll note that around Ingoto and Umvoti, in those areas, we are having a green. But if you go towards Indomene and also around Indomene, in the main, it will be your livestock. If you can move to the next slide, Babulanga. All right, in the slide, honorable members, we are highlighting the strategic direction of the department in terms of the interventions that we'll be focusing on. We're highlighting the issue of mega nurseries, your agri-hubs, and the eco farming. Also, we are indicating that we'll be providing farmer support to farmers to improve our food security, and also we're reflecting the national goals, the importance of job creation and poverty alleviation. So the programs that will be implementing around the Umzinyathi will be focusing in achieving those national goals. Next slide, Babulanga. I'll be challenged here, honorable members, but here we are reflecting, I'm using a cell phone. Here we are reflecting our EAP specifically for Umzinyathi. as Ukabazela indicated that we will be they presented the bigger picture. Now we're only zooming to Umzinyathi. So those are figures that we are projecting, which will be revised at a later stage. Once we confirm we will recall that we still have our call for funding on. And we will, once we finalize that call for funding, there will be some changes in terms of the figures that are reflected here. That will be around February, as CFO also indicated. Next slide, Babulanga. Also, you can move Babulanga to the next slide. Is still the APP, the figures. OCFO presented the budget for the whole province. This is the budget reflecting only Umzinyathi, indicating the budget for this financial year and the budget for next financial year. OCFO has indicated the reasons why we are having a lesser budget in this financial year, citing the issue of AMA projects that still need to be approved, and we don't know how many will be approved and be allocated to Umzinyathi at this point in time. But in other items, there is significant. There is some positive increase in terms of budget, but in overall, there is a decrease, citing those indicate what I've said. Next slide, Babulanga. The slide depicts the interventions that we are doing at Umzinyathi around our production imports and the budget that is allocated, and also on the livestock and the production import for livestock, focusing in the main on commercializing goods, where we have a budget of 448,200 rands. Then also on the part of broiler production, then we are indicating the total figure of the investment in the slide, Babulanga. Honorable members, here we are highlighting the work that we are currently doing around Umzinyathi, using our mechanization, our own fleet around Umzinyathi. We are planting and also distributing our production imports. Next slide, Babulanga. Then in the slide, honorable members, also we're highlighting what CFO was talking about, the support that we are providing to our farmers, your production imports here. Babulanga, next slide. Also, this picture depicts, it's one picture at the Moto where we planted. It's showing what we've done. Honorable members, we wanted just an oblique view to show what is happening there. On next slide, Babulanga. They were highlighting the project that UADA is planning in the next financial year, but this current financial year is under planning for Ibohole, but the total budget, once we ascertain the existing whether water is available underground, then we'll implement it in full. The next slide, Babulanga. Also, we're listing the projects that we're doing as a department in that particular region. CFO has cited those, but this one is related to a disaster. There is a budget that has been allocated to the province to come with the relief to the farmers who were severely affected by a disaster. So those are the interventions that we're doing around that particular area. Next slide, Babulanga. Then in the slide, we're highlighting the projects that we're implementing and the projects that we have planned to implement in the next financial year. Babulanga, they are reflected here. I can read them. Then in the slide, you can go forward, Babulanga. In the slide, honorable members, we wanted to indicate that around the agri-hub, although it has not been started, but we have projects that are aligned to the red meat and the projects that we are currently implementing Those projects, they include SLJ farming, they include Ukolagahle, and also they include Mjwanizer. Those are the projects that in this financial year we will be completing, but we felt that it is important that we also highlight what we're doing around Irrit Meetup, honorable members. Next slide, Babalanga. In this slide, honorable members, we are highlighting the collaboration that we're having at a district level. The district is working closely with the district development agency for Mzingat. They have tractors, and as a department, we have a good working relationship with them. District director participates actively, and also there are some initiatives that at a local level that seek to improve or create job opportunities for our poor resource household. So there is that kind of a collaboration. Is what we wanted to highlight in this slide, honorable members. Then, honorable members, that is the last slide. Let me take this opportunity and thank you and apologize, honorable members. I was trying to move to an area where I'll be able to connect with my computer, hence I was requesting Babalanga to present on my behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Chongisa. Thank you very much, CEO and the team, for the presentations. Let's now allow honorable members to engage with the presentations. We know that we can't engage much at this point because it's still early. It's at the draft stages. The APP and the budget will be presented formally to our formal meeting for us to engage with it and adopt it. For now, it's just preparation for engagement with stakeholders. But let's allow honorable members to comment and questions for clarity. They want to see clarity in some of the questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and greeting to yourself and compliments, Chair, of the New Year to you, and greeting also to committee members, the department, the entity, and the support team. Now, Chair, I think you have summed it very well. Let us appreciate the presentations that were made by the department. And we are aware, as you have correctly put it, that they are meant to prepare us as we go to stakeholders so that we are not surprised, but it's still a draft and we'll still have much time to engage and consolidate the input. I think I'm in line with that, Chair, and support that. I just wanted to indicate that, no, we do appreciate the presentation. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ndebele. Any other member wants to comment or pose question for clarity? If not, let's thank you. The entire team led by you, CFO, and the team from the entity led by Mr. Mfusi. We think we know what you'll be presenting on Friday. As we have said, it's still early for us to engage with the drafts. Let's let you do your consultative work with the stakeholders, and it will be presented properly to us in our formal meeting to engage with it and comment and adopt it eventually. We feel it's okay for us. Thank you very much for sharing the information with us. I think we'll be able to follow when we are presenting on Friday. Yes, really thank you for giving us that information. with that, Mampo, is there any other issue you want to brief us regarding Friday? I'm not sure. But let's say we'll meet on Friday to for our stakeholder. For our engagement with them, with our stakeholders there. Thank you very much, the entire team. Thank you very much, CFO, for leading the team. Thank you very much, all members. We'll meet on Friday. Thank you. The meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.